Alrighty folks, welcome into this new more weather forecast video. My name is Beck Moore and I'm back here in the revamped weather studio. I'm in a different spot. The green screen's right over there. You can't see it right now. But now we do have TV forecasts that we're going to be implementing. Weekly weather rundown, probably going to stick to the green screen. But for most of the other videos, we're going to be doing the new TV so we can kind of do this a little bit easier, a little bit faster. Don't have to deal with the finicky green screen here. But enough talking from me. We got to get into the forecast because we have another big time storm for the Midwest and Great Lakes regions, very similar to the one that just ended there, and it is going to have a very similar track as well. So let's get straight into it, looking at Friday, so not tomorrow, but the next day, Friday, and you can clearly see where that snow is going to be up through Chicago, northern Illinois, northern Indiana, into Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, parts of Missouri, but St. Louis most of Friday you're going to be dealing with rain. Then Friday afternoon, wintry mix. Friday evening, Friday afternoon, you could change over to maybe a brief period of heavy snow, but it will not be a long enough period of heavy snow to really have those significant accumulations. Here on Friday, we are also going to be watching severe weather down here into the southern United States. That's going to be a big thing. We're going to be watching an enhanced risk on Friday from the Carolinas all the way through Mississippi and Alabama. So that's going to be something to really watch there. Again, wintry mix in between the rain and the snow. But look at this system. It's going to be a very, very strong system. And that's why I have this blizzard icon here, because it is going to be blizzard conditions, full out blizzard in Chicago Friday night, Grand Rapids Friday through early morning on Saturday. And this could be a storm that shuts down both of those cities in Chicago and Grand Rapids. This could shut down O'Hare and Midway. That's how much snow there's going to be. That's how windy it's going to be. And I think Friday night, you're not going to get into Chicago, and you're not going to want to leave Chicago, because you're not going to be able to. I think the airports are going to shut down because that heavy snow is just going to put way too much pressure on air traffic control, on the runways. There's going to be way too much snow. It's going to be way too windy. And again, whiteout conditions. So if you're going from Chicago to the Quad Cities, don't do that Friday night, early Saturday morning. Chicago to Milwaukee, also, please do not do that. And then Chicago to, say, Fort Wayne, Indiana, South Bend, Indiana, also very treacherous. The roads are going to be very dangerous, so I do not recommend traveling. The snow will be moving in around Friday morning here in Chicago, and that heavy snow will last throughout the day into the nighttime hours. And talking about nighttime, let's go into Friday night through early Saturday morning, and you can see this right here, that strong cold front coming down. Arctic blast, our first Arctic blast of the season, is going to be bringing frigid temperatures throughout the Midwest, western, and southern United States. And then again, Friday night, continuing to see that heavy snow in Chicago, continuing to see it in Grand Rapids. That strong low pressure center moves to the north, and that blizzard icon stays, because this is going to be an extremely strong storm, very strong winds around it, and that's why from Chicago up towards Green Bay, up towards Grand Rapids, we are going to be dealing with blizzard conditions to a full-on blizzard. And this heavy snow, it's really going to pick up. You could get 1 inch per hour rates. If we get that for multiple hours, we're going to really see that snow pick up. And then some snow developing here into New York and northern Pennsylvania, and then rain down the East Coast Friday night into early Saturday morning. And then the storm will get its way on out of here on Saturday midway. It'll be midday. It'll be totally out of our hair, with maybe a couple lingering snow showers across the Northeast. But I want to get into this. This storm is going to be the bearer of the Arctic air. It's going to bring down that Arctic air Friday, and that's going to significantly drop our temperatures. St. Louis temperatures are going to be dropping like a rock Friday afternoon and Friday evening. Same with you in Memphis, same with you in Kansas City, Wichita, through the central United States and into the southern United States. This is going to be not just cold air, but Arctic air. We're talking 20s, teens as our highs throughout the Midwest, and even maybe negatives as our highs in the very upper Midwestern United States. Now, let's talk about our snow totals from this storm. Even more significant than last storm. That's the thing I want to really hit on. This isn't a total redo of last time. It's even more significant. So that snow cover you got in Chicago, How about add 8 to 12, maybe 8 to 14 inches onto that there in Chicago? I think this is a storm that could shut down travel in Chicago. It's going to be very treacherous, very windy. A blizzard is going to be the issue you're dealing with. In this pink here, again, we're talking about 8 to 12. In this lighter pink, we're talking about 12 to 18. And in the red, those isolated spots could get 18 to 24 inches. St. Louis, another big miss of snow, less than an inch of snow. As you go to the west city, could you get on 2 to 3? That's very possible. Omaha, we're talking probably around 5 inches of snow. Des Moines, 6 to 8 inches of snow. Quad Cities, getting in on that 8 to 12 area of snow, probably 8 to 9 is a good bet there in the Quad Cities to add on to what you've already received. Minneapolis, 6 to 8 inches of snow. And then to the eastern United States, where we have that lake effect up towards Watertown, Syracuse, Rochester, Buffalo, Erie, Pennsylvania, talking about probably 3 to 6 for most people. That's a good look. Find your town, find your region, your city, and look how much you're going to get. This is a significant snowstorm. Could be the snowstorm of the season for the Great Lakes region. Again, Chicago, Grand Rapids, Green Bay, Milwaukee, 12 to 18 inches of snow. Maybe could get even higher than that. 1.5 feet in some places. 1 foot to 1.5 feet. Very significant snow. This is shut down snow. So Friday, you're going to want to have the hatches already battened down. You're going to want to be very prepared. So start preparing now if you're in Chicago, Grand Rapids, Green Bay, Milwaukee, because this is going to be a heck of a storm. Very, very strong storm. Now, let's do our regional forecast. Starting in Chicago on Thursday, we're going to be cloudy. Grand Rapids, though, a couple of snow showers will be around. That's not associated with this system, though. That's coming in on Friday. Quad Cities, mostly cloudy, a little bit of sun, a little calm before the storm. Detroit, you'll also be cloudy. Now, as we go into Friday, we are going to see that heavy, heavy snow starting to come into places like Chicago, Grand Rapids, Quad Cities, Milwaukee here. Detroit, though, you are cloudy. That wintry mix will be coming in Friday night, so we'll have to watch that. But heavy snow all throughout Friday, and that's going to be probably 1 inch per hour rates for multiple hours, and that's why we're talking about 12 to 18 inches in this city, not Quad Cities, but could you get up to 12 inches? Absolutely. So more than a foot in Grand Rapids and Chicago, and that's because we're going to have extremely heavy snow, extremely strong winds for multiple hours, several hours on end there on Friday. And then Friday night, same deal in Chicago and Grand Rapids. You're going to continue to rack up those snow totals. Quad Cities, you're dealing with the same thing. Detroit, rain-snow mix. I think this will be mostly a wintry mix situation for you guys. We still do have 2 to 4 inches for you guys there in Detroit. I just think that warm nose, that rain-snow mix is going to cut you off from the higher totals. But as you go to the west of the city, it's going to be a whole different ball game. Again, around 8 to 12 inches to the west of the city. Chicago, 8 to 14 inches of snow is what we're talking about. I think a foot of snow is a good bet in Chicago. And again, this is going to shut down travel if this verifies, which it most likely will. 15 to 20 inches of snow in Grand Rapids. I just want to say, quick disclaimer here, these totals can change just a bit, but for right now, they're looking pretty good. They're looking pretty set in stone at the moment. Again, they're going to wobble back and forth, maybe just a little bit, could be a little bit less, a little more, but no significant changes. Get 15 to 20 inches of snow in Grand Rapids. We could underperform this and only get a foot, but this is what it's looking like, the forecast right now. That is a very significant storm. You're going to want to batten down the hatches right now. Get prepared. Quad Cities, 6 to 8 inches of snow as our last snow total that we're looking at. That's also a very significant snowstorm for you guys, so you're going to want to be prepared as well. Adding on to the snowpack that we've already received from this first system that came through. Again, those are significant snow totals, and even bigger storm for Grand Rapids and Chicago. Now, let's look at that Arctic air, because this is going to be a big weather story as we go into the rest of January. And again, like I said, that storm is going to be the bearer of this significant Arctic air. And you can just see 100% chance of below average temperatures here. Bullseye there around St. Louis, and that just shows that we're going to have this Arctic air coming down behind the storm. And this is not cold air like I've been stressing. This is Arctic air. So we're talking teens, 20s, negatives, maybe 30s as your high in the Panhandle of Florida. If 30 is your high in the Panhandle of Florida, imagine what your high is going to be on Monday in St. Louis, Missouri, in Chicago, Illinois. Yeah, it's going to be extremely cold, getting down into the single digits for your highs, let alone your low temperatures there. Sorry, hard to speak today, but those low temperatures there are going to be probably in the negatives throughout a large area of the Midwest United States. This just shows how strong that Arctic blast is going to be, and really going into full force once we get into Sunday, Monday. And this pattern of very cold air coming down, of Arctic air coming down, is probably going to be with us for the rest of January. There's pretty much no end to it in sight for right now as we go into the rest of January. So get used to it. Get your big winter coats out because it's about to get very cold. Now, we're talking about another storm around the early week time frame, and this is going to be in the Midwest and southern United States. Because that cold air is going to be dropping down, this is going to limit the snow in a place like St. Louis, but heighten your snow potential in northern Arkansas or a place, say, like Memphis. Now, this is going to be a very strong storm. At first, it could become a strong storm if it goes this path right here, but it's not going to be a strong storm because it's just some weak energy coming down from the west. But could we get a couple of inches in St. Louis? That's very possible. But where we're talking about right now, and again, this is going to change through Oklahoma into northern Arkansas, maybe even into western Tennessee and Kentucky. That's what the models are showing for heaviest accumulations. But again, that area can shift to the north. It can also maybe shift even to the south. But here's the possible tracks. A lot of models like this track. Some models do like this track. And this track right here would give a nor'easter to New York, to Philadelphia, maybe even Washington, D.C., up through Boston. And this is a lot of times, I'm just going to say this right now, a lot of times how nor'easters can form. You get this energy coming down through here, some snow into the Midwest, get maybe a low pressure center form down here into the Gulf, rides up that coast, and then you get snow over here. So that's going to be something to really watch for as we go into next week. But early next week, all we're talking about across the central United States is some light snow for St. Louis maybe. Again, that can change. I think a couple of inches cannot be ruled out for St. Louis, but I think through this region, that's where we're going to be having our heaviest snow. And I'll more on that in the coming days. The system is still developing, and we'll watch it here in the coming days. Now, our last slide here, Thursday through Friday, severe weather threat. And it's going to be pretty significant here through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. There is a pretty heightened tornado threat as well as a wind threat and hail threat. That wind and hail threat you really got to be prepared for. So we're talking Atlanta, Columbia, South Carolina, Columbus here in Georgia, Macon, Georgia as well, Athens, Georgia, really here in central Georgia, central Carolinas, and then into parts of eastern Alabama. That's where we're talking about our most heightened severe weather threat. So you really need to be prepared. Have a way to receive warnings. Panama City and Pensacola, where we saw a tornado with our last event, you're under the gun again. So you saw that tornado. If you weren't prepared then, you really do need to be prepared now because there's another chance, maybe even a greater chance for significant storms. And the most likely setup is going to be linear, meaning straight line of storms that comes across with embedded areas of circulations, maybe some QLCS or small, short-lived tornadoes along that line of storms. So definitely going to have to watch that in this region. Now that about wraps up this More Weather Forecast video. Make sure you subscribe. Go follow me on X. Please be prepared in the Great Lakes Midwest region for that significant snowstorm here in the next couple of days, especially Friday night in Chicago. Do not travel, guys. Do not travel. Even if you think you can, do not do it. You're going to significantly regret it. Again, Green Bay through Chicago, through Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's going to be a very, very significant storm. As always, stay prepared out there, and I will see you soon with more weather.